Welcome to News Hour by DLC, your one-stop destination for the latest and most impactful updates from the legal world. From landmark rulings to policy shifts shaping the justice system, DLC brings you in-depth coverage, expert insights, and analysis that matter. Stay informed, stay ahead because in law, every verdict counts. Today is 31st January 2025 and we bring you news that matters. In a recent ruling, the Bombay High Court acknowledged that commercial speech is protected under the constitutional right to free speech. However, the court imposed a 90-day injunction against an Australia-based distributor of Wonderchef home appliances, owned by celebrity chef Sanjeev Kapoor, prohibiting the distributor from making any comments or communications that could harm company's reputation. This decision was based on a contractual clause that prevents the distributor from making adverse remarks about the company. Justice Somaseka Sundaresan emphasized that while commercial speech is a part of free speech, contractual agreements can limit such expressions. The court also directed Wonderchef to initiate arbitration proceedings under the Arbitration and Conciliation Act, 1996. In a significant move, the Bombay High Court has mandated a comprehensive social audit. All 30 maternity and nursing homes operated by the Brihanmumbai Municipal Corporation (BMC). This directive comes in response to a tragic incident where a woman and her newborn died after a caesarean section was performed under mobile torchlight due to a power failure at the Sushma Swaraj Maternity Hospital in Bhandup. The court has established a committee comprising medical professionals and health advocates to conduct the audit within 8 weeks and submit a detailed report. The committee includes Dr. Kamaksi Bhate, retired professor of community medicine from KM Hospital, Mumbai; Dr. Padmaja, head of the gynecology department at KM Hospital, Mumbai; Dr. Reena Vani, professor at the gynecology department, Cooper Hospital, Mumbai; Brynel D'Souza, chairperson, Center for Health and Mental Health, Tata Institute of Social Sciences, Mumbai; Sonia Gill, Vice President of Akhil Bhartiya Janwadi Mahila Sangatana; Sangeeta Reg, Health and Women's Rights Advocate. Additionally, 2 doctors from JJ Hospital and Nair Hospital in Mumbai will be part of the committee, as suggested by government pleader Purnima Kantharia. This action underscores the court's commitment to ensuring adequate facilities and preventing such incidents in the future. The Bombay High Court has directed the Maharashtra government to submit an affidavit detailing the progress in developing a website that provides information on the functioning and procedures of the police complaint authorities (PCAs) in the state. The court also instructed the government to outline steps taken to raise public awareness about the PCAs, roles and operations. This directive was issued during the hearing of an interlocutory application seeking amendments to the Maharashtra Police Amendment Act, 2014, to align it with the Supreme Court's guidelines from the 2006 Prakash Singh case, which mandated the establishment of PCAs for systemic police reforms. The petitioner emphasized the need for public awareness regarding the existence and functions of PCAs and advocated for the creation of a dedicated website to disseminate relevant information. In response, the State's Council informed the court that necessary amendments have been incorporated into the Maharashtra Police Amendment Act, and PCAs have been constituted at the state, district, and division levels. The Council committed to providing an update on the website as development during the next hearing. The court has scheduled the next hearing for February 26, 2025. In a significant development, the Bombay High Court has granted bail to 6 individuals accused in the 2013 murder of Communist Party of India leader Govind Pansare. The accused Sachin Anja, Vasudev Suryavanshi, Ganesh Miskin, Amit Degvekar, Amit Baddi, and Bharat Kane have been in custody for over 6 years. The court acknowledged the prolonged incarceration and noted that, with approximately 250 witnesses yet to be examined, the trial's conclusion is not imminent. Govind Pansare, 82, was fatally shot along with his wife Uma in August 2013 while returning from their morning walk in Haur. Despite charges filed against several individuals since 2015, key evidence such as the murder weapons and the getaway vehicle remain untraced, and 2 alleged shooters are still at large. In 2022, the investigation was transferred to the State Anti-Terrorism Squad (ATS) due to limited progress. The Pansare family has expressed dissatisfaction with the investigation, citing concerns over the thoroughness of the probe into potential links with right-wing extremist groups. However, earlier this month the High Court discontinued its monitoring of the case, indicating that no further investigation was necessary. In a recent hearing, the Bombay High Court expressed concern over the Maharashtra government's underutilization of funds allocated for medical infrastructure, noting that only 66% of the budget had been utilized. Chief Justice Alok Arad emphasized the gravity of the situation, highlighting the deaths of infants in government hospitals and questioning the state's lack of full budget utilization. The court had previously initiated a suo motu public interest litigation (PIL) in October 2023 following reports of numerous deaths, including those of infants, in government hospitals in Nanded and Chhatrapati Sambhajinagar districts. These reports cited shortages of beds, medical staff, and essential medicines as contributing factors. During the proceedings, the amicus curiae pointed out the state's failure to provide explanations for the unutilized portion of the budget. Additionally, the court addressed the Maharashtra Public Service Commission (MPSC), emphasizing the need for a targeted program to fill existing vacancies in medical colleges and hospitals within a specified timeline. The court has scheduled the next hearing for the following week, directing the State Council to submit a comprehensive affidavit detailing the reasons for budget underutilization and outlining steps to address the staffing shortages in the healthcare sector. In a recent legal development, the Bombay High Court was informed by the Maharashtra government that first information reports, FIRs, filed against a group of students accused of assaulting a Muslim man and coercing him to chant Jai Shri Ram have been transferred from Kankavli police station to Kudal police station. The incident in question involves petitioner Asif Sheikh, who alleges that while traveling from Kankavli to Mumbai he and his family were assaulted by a group of students after they realized he was Muslim. Sheikh further claims that Maharashtra Cabinet Minister Nitesh Rane was present at the Kankavli police station when he attempted to file a complaint, and that Rane influenced a police's actions. Advocate Gautam Kanchanpurkar, representing Sheikh, expressed concerns that the transfer to Kudal police station might still be subject to political influence, noting that Kudal is within the constituency of Nitesh Rane's brother Nilesh Rane. In response, Justice Revati Mohite Dere suggested the possibility of transferring the investigation to Mumbai. However, the court proceeded to record the state's action of transferring the probe to Kudal without making a final decision on further relocation. This case highlights ongoing concerns about political influence in law enforcement investigations and the challenges of ensuring impartiality in sensitive communal incidents. The Bombay High Court has expressed concern over a growing trend of lawyers appearing unprepared for their cases, leading to inefficiencies in court proceedings. A division bench comprising Justices Revati Mohite Dere and Dr. Neela Gokhale emphasized that such lack of preparation not only does a disservice to the lawyers' own clients but also adversely affects other litigants awaiting their hearings. The bench highlighted that time wasted due to unprepared advocates prevents the court from addressing critical cases, including death sentence confirmations and final hearings. The judges cautioned that if this issue persists, they may prioritize fixed and final hearing matters in the afternoons to ensure efficient use of court time. This stance underscores the judiciary's commitment to maintaining professionalism and efficiency within the legal system, ensuring that justice is delivered promptly and effectively. In a recent judgment, the Aurangabad bench of the Bombay High Court ruled that an individual's participation in a political rally that later turns violent does not, by itself, justify preventive detention. The court ordered the release of a man who had been detained under the Maharashtra Prevention of Dangerous Activities Act, 1981, MPDA, following his involvement in a rally advocating for Maratha reservations. The division bench comprising Justice Vibha Kankanwadi and Justice Rohit Joshi observed that the petitioner was among those accused in an FIR related to the rally, which escalated into violence. Notably, while the FIR named 50 identified individuals and 600 to 700 unknown persons, only the petitioner faced preventive detention under the MPDA Act. The court emphasized that merely participating in a political rally that becomes violent does not warrant such a severe measure. The bench stated, "There can be absolutely no justification for curtailing the liberty of an individual merely on the ground of participation in a political rally, although the same may have taken an ugly violent turn. The judges further noted the absence of evidence indicating that the petitioner organized the rally or instigated the violence. This ruling underscores the judiciary's stance that preventive detention should not be employed as a substitute for addressing ordinary law and order issues. The court highlighted the necessity of distinguishing between individual culpability and collective actions during political events, ensuring that fundamental rights are not unduly compromised. In a recent development, the Maharashtra government informed the Bombay High Court that it has no objections to permitting cross-gender massages in spa centers across the state. The government also indicated its intention to formulate guidelines to regulate the operations of spas, massage centers, therapy, and wellness centers. This announcement came during the hearing of a petition filed by 11 therapists who alleged harassment by police authorities, including raids and actions under the Immoral Traffic Prevention Act, 1956. The petitioners contended that such actions infringed upon their rights to livelihood, dignity, and equality. Advocate General Dr. Birendra Saraf, representing the state, acknowledged that police interventions typically occur following complaints from neighbors or concerned parties. He agreed with the court's suggestion to establish guidelines to prevent unnecessary harassment while ensuring legitimate concerns are addressed. The court emphasized the need for clear regulations to balance the rights of professionals in the wellness industry with concerns of the community, aiming to prevent unwarranted police actions and uphold individual rights. The Nagpur bench of the Bombay High Court upheld the conviction of a man for raping a woman, emphasizing that a victim's delay in reporting the crime does not undermine the credibility of her testimony. The court noted that the victim, traumatized by the assault, was not expected to travel alone at night to file a complaint, especially given the police station was 15 kilometers away from her residence. The court further observed that the victim's decision to seek support before reporting the crime was consistent with her state of shock and trauma. It highlighted that such delays are common and should not be used to discredit the victim's account. This ruling underscores the judiciary's understanding of the psychological impact of sexual assault on victims and reinforces the importance of considering the circumstances surrounding the reporting of such crimes. The Bombay High Court recently stayed an order by the Bar Council or India BCI that suspend license of a Mumbai-based female advocate. The suspension stemmed from a complaint by members of the Advocate Association of Western India (AVI), alleging that the advocate, not being a formal member, was using the association's facilities without authorization. A division bench comprising Justices Girish Kulkarni and Advait Sethna questioned the manner in which both the BCI and the Bar Council or Maharashtra and the BCMG handled the complaint, highlighting a disregard for principles of natural justice. The bench noted that the advocate, with 24 years of experience, was denied procedural fairness, as affidavits were served on her on the day of the hearing without prior notice, leading to the impugned order being passed on the same day. The court emphasized that such actions, resulting in the suspension of a professional's license, have significant civil consequences, including the loss of livelihood. The bench remarked that both substantive and procedural fairness were expected from the statutory bodies involved. This development underscores the judiciary's commitment to upholding natural justice principles, ensuring that disciplinary actions against legal professionals are conducted fairly and transparently. The Bombay High Court has initiated suo motu contempt proceedings against two flat owners in Mumbai for unauthorized structural alterations to their properties, which endangered the building's structural integrity. The court also reprimanded the Brihanmumbai Municipal Corporation BMC for its failure to enforce its own orders and statutory obligations. A division bench comprising Justices Kamal Khattan and A.S. Gadkari observed that the flat owners demolished walls to amalgamate their flats without obtaining the necessary permissions from the BMC. Despite prior warnings and court orders, they failed to restore the flats to their original condition, constituting contempt of court. The court criticized the BMC for not executing its own orders to restore the flats, highlighting the corporation's neglect of its statutory duties. The bench remarked that law-abiding citizens are compelled to approach the court due to the BMK's inaction, noting that the corporation has failed to comply with court orders. This development underscores the judiciary's commitment to upholding structural safety standards and holding both individuals and municipal authorities accountable for violations.